It's time for Beak to repeat himself. That's what it is. It's time for me to repeat myself. And what I mean by that is this. For a while with Tommy Turbo, first of all, couldn't love Tommy Turbo enough. Like, if you ever had doubt of the absolute superhuman super athlete this bloke is, it has been completely quelled in his performance during this series. I think he's almost locked in for Golden Boot.
He's got 1 foot in the Golden Boot, I reckon.
Surely. The Golden Slipper. They should present it to him and like put it on like a slipper.
Yeah, it would be great content.
Anyway, so he's been incredible, but it makes me look at that Manly side, and granted, a fully fit Turbo that's playing every single game, I want him at fullback locked in. I don't want him anywhere else. I want him at fullback. However, when you look at the series and you look how good Lehi was at fullback, you look how good Tommy was at fullback, and his ability to swap shot, like look, we always focus on his physical ability, his ability to score tries, his ball playing, but just his footy knowledge and feel to know when to go to the other side to ball play and not be left in the lurch is incredible. It reminds me of what I've been saying for quite a few years now. Could you put Tommy in the centres at least just to get him through the season so he's running less Ks, his body's going through far less than it is at fullback. You put Lehi at fullback, and then eventually, let's just say he gets through the whole year. Final series is just around the corner. You're 3 or 4 weeks out. Then you move him back into fullback if he does. I just think that they really should consider putting Tommy at centre for 2 reasons. Obviously, to get him through as many games as possible, but also Lehi was so bloody good at fullback. Yes, okay, is he at Tommy's level? No, he's not, but he's pretty friggin' good. You get more reps there just in case anything happens, and also it increases the likelihood of Tommy staying on the field. What do you reckon, boys?
I don't mind it. Hopoate, yesterday was the first time I've ever seen him play live, and Christ, he's impressive. He just always seems to be in the right spot, and he's just got good awareness. Yeah, like he always just seems to be in the right spot all the time. And Tommy Turbo looked incredible yesterday, and I got so excited about seeing him at fullback again. But the way I look at it, if I'm Manly, if you play him at centre, you get Hopoate in the team somewhere, which you need to do, and Ruben Garrett gets to play his better fucking position. Like I think it's a domino effect, and I think I'll take the words out of your mouth. You just got to let Tommy roam, though. You've got to give him a license to do his own thing. And if you do get to the back end of the season and you can, move him back to fullback, sure, but I can see a world where they can just make it work, just allowing him to roam. Could even be in game that he drops back there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Swap sometimes.
Yeah, I think there's serious legs to it.
Yeah, I would keep Tommy Turbo at fullback. Okay. I think that if Tommy's coming back from an injury, and they did it for all of one game this year, granted it was back end of the season, they needed to start sort of prepping for finals, and they played Tommy Turbo at centre. It was 1 or 2 games. I'd keep him at fullback. I think, if he is on return from a sort of length or any sort of injury layoff with Tommy Turbo, you could play Lehi there for a month sort of thing and allow Tommy to get that match fitness back into him and some Ks under the belt. I think one big thing would be, what all the data says, how much less work and running is there actually at centre. I know it sort of came out last year. Manly said that it wasn't that different.
It came out again that it was different.
I was going to say, I fail to believe that.
It's, in my understanding, when I was playing, it's like kilometres different per game.
Yeah, when that first data came out, they said that. I'm like, what? Who's coming up with this data?
Yeah.
I think there are a few factors to it. Like, obviously, to state the obvious, it's his best position, Tommy Turbo, is fullback. I just think another big factor is he's one of the best talkers in the game from fullback and organising his defensive line. His coverage, everything he does back there is essentially second to none. Now, that isn't to say that Lehi Hopoate isn't as good, but what would they lose by putting Lehi Hopoate defensively and their defensive positioning and all those sorts of things? So as long as Tommy Turbo is fit and healthy, I'd be 100% keeping it fullback. Barring maybe that first month back from an injury.
I see what you're saying for sure. The reason why I would put him potentially at centre initially is just for a whole season. If you're at fullback all the time, what's been his big issue? It's been soft tissue injury. So every game you play him at fullback, you're increasing his load exponentially each time. So by the time he gets to around 20, let's say he runs 8 Ks per game and he gets to around 20. So that's like 20. 10 times 8, 80, 160. That's 160 kilometres compared to, let's just say he's in centre and he runs for, I'll say, 4Ks. And that could be wrong. It might be 5Ks, but just say 4Ks. You're literally, by the time you get to around 20, you're halving the amount of kilometres he has run, which look, you'd have to go to NRL physio to get the real nuts and bolts of this, of how it would all work. But I would just look at it like, surely the chances of doing a soft tissue injury would be reduced drastically by halving the amount of kilometres he has run in a season. Again, that's just pure bro nonsense science. You'd have to speak to someone who actually gets it. That's just the way. That's why I'd put him at centre, because of the load over a whole season kind of thing.
Just to add to that bro nonsense science,
Yeah.
To restrict that and sort of reduce the workload on Tommy Turbo, could you just give him a week off every 6 or so weeks? And I know you don't give him a complete week off and stop him running because you need to get a certain amount of Ks in the legs to avoid these soft tissue injuries. But could you just sit him every 6 weeks? Reduce his training for that, just to give his body a break. Again, I don't know how it works exactly, but
I wouldn't be opposed to that with Lehi in the squad.
Like Lehi, Garrett, Kohler, heaps of options. They lose a bit for 1 week, but still.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I think he would.
Yeah, he 100% would.
He would,
Tommy
but
Turbo.
you take it out of his hands. Like, you say, hey, mate, we need you for a season.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate, like, mate, this guy is so much better than everyone else. It's actually ridiculous.
And that's the point of the conversation, isn't it? Like, if Tommy Turbo stays fit for a season, I don't care who's around him. Manly can win a comp.
Literally.
I'm so confident of it because I think at his best, he's the best player in the NRL. But we just haven't seen it in a long time.
What do you reckon, Hammy?
I don't mind moving him into the centres. I think it's good. I agree with Roos' point. I think it means the domino effect there. You get to put Ruben Garrick back out on the wing, and I think maybe that was a bit of an error.
Would you go Cooler on the other centre?
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I would. Yeah,
I thought he looked bloody good on the weekend, Cooler.
He looks great every time he plays football. I can't work it out.
Cooler and Turbo in the centres. Then you've got Garrick back on the wing, which I think is his better spot. And then you've got
Saab or Talea.
Saab, I think, at the other wing, and then you've got Hopoate at the back. I don't know. I feel like that way you're able to get your best 5 probably backs out there and play them in positions that probably bring the best out of them. And the key one is just getting a bit more longevity out of Turbo through the season.
Yeah,
I like the thinking around, again, the bro science.
It's bro science.
Just cutting the work that he's got to do, or the just to reduce the soft tissue stuff. Because I think they're most dangerous when he's out on the field. But obviously the last couple of years he's always missed it, here and there. So if this is a way to keep him out there more, I like it. Yeah,
he's so good. I cannot just watching him play. You're almost, whenever he makes a break, you're just like, again, like every big game in a rep game, he just dominates. I
know this isn't how things work, but if he had a flawless injury history, he'd probably have 5 Dalian medals. Seriously,
yeah. Like, if he had a flawless run of injury, he'd be the best fullback of all time, I reckon.
Yep.
Probably. And that's, just when you look at when he plays, when he's good to go, he would probably end up being, like, imagine 12 years of him at his best.
I think he would be.
He probably would be. And that's no knock on, Billy. I mean, to be extremely clear, I understand one of the biggest assets in rugby league is availability. Yeah. So that's a positive to Billy Slater rather than a knock on anyone. It's saying his availability is like why he was so great. It was the fact that he could play so much footy. It was the fact that he had that crazy injury and he came back and he did what he did. But it is something, we sit here and say, what if this, what if that? Yeah, Tommy Turbo. Because, you can go back to even just his early Origin career and look at him dominate. What's insane as well, we're forgetting, before his first game in this Pacific Champs, it had been 6 years since he played for Australia. What? Fuck, just crazy. He's truly one of those guys that if you say, on his day, one-off game, is in probably the best 17 all time.
He probably is the guy.
Just crazy. Anyway, that's our not so hot take. That's Beak repeating himself again.
Side note, the Billy Slater on horseback for the Melbourne Cup Carnival doing the post-race interviews was the collaboration I never knew we needed.
Oh, we needed it.
I was happy to finally see it because I feel like I've heard enough. Oh, he used to be a track work jockey. It's like, you've said it a million times. Show me or shut up.
Kind of like Cookie and speed sprinting. I want to see it now.
Exactly. Correct.
Yeah.
Show me. And finally they did. And I thought, to be fair, he was actually great.
He was sensational.
Yep.
His insights were brilliant. His interviews were brilliant. It was...
What is it, Slater's Thoroughbreds? Is that what his thing is? Slater's Thoroughbreds, his horse?
I don't know what he's called it.
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's called... Shout out Slater's Thoroughbreds.
Is he the first Queensland and or rugby league coach full stop to be on TV on the back of a horse?
Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slater's Thoroughbred, 16.6K followers on Insta.
Oh, my God.
He's killing it.
Get around him.
Get around Slater's Thoroughbred. Shout out. There you go. Anyway. Let us know in the comments section. What do you reckon about Tommy and Lehi and the backline for Manly? Let us know.
Just having a quick look at Turbo's last few seasons and just his win percentage. And I don't have Manly's up, but I feel like over the last 7 or 8 years, Manly haven't consistently made the 8. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
You know, if you win more than 50% of the games, you make the 8. Turbo, over the last 7 years, he's gone below 50% in his games once. And keep in mind, there's probably 8 to 10 games in that run where he's got injured mid-game.
For sure.
Yeah, wow. Far out. So good. So bloody good.